Cruise ships look effortless from the outside. Smiling crew, sparkling decks, food flowing endlessly. But behind that polished exterior, there's a whole world passengers rarely see. Rules, routines, and quiet warnings that the crew live with every day. Over the years, I've had countless conversations with crew members, and what they've told me changed the way I cruise forever. These aren't the basic tips you'll find in brochures or travel blogs. These are the secrets crew wish more passengers knew, because it would make your trip better, smoother, and maybe even save you money. Some of them are surprising, some a little uncomfortable, but all of them give you a peek into the hidden side of cruising. Let's dive into the first set of secrets. Secret 1. The shadow network that runs the ship. When you look at a cruise ship, you see official systems everywhere. Guest services for problems, excursion desks for tours, restaurants for dining. But ask anyone who works on board, and they'll quietly tell you those aren't the only systems. The real engine that keeps everything moving is the crew's informal network. Crew are connected in ways passengers never notice. Cabin stewards share rooms with bartenders. Waiters are best friends with entertainers. A mechanic from the engine room might play cards every night with someone from the spa. These friendships matter because crew swap favors constantly. Here's what that means for you. Sometimes things that look impossible on the surface can actually get done if you know the right person. Maybe guest services says a show is fully booked. Maybe the excursion desk insists a tour is closed. But your stateroom attendant? They might quietly ask a friend in entertainment or shore excursions if there's any wiggle room, and suddenly a seat opens up. This isn't bribery, it's trust. It's crew helping each other out behind the scenes, and passengers who treat crew with kindness, patience, and respect are the ones who get pulled into that invisible web. So the first secret isn't about tipping or complaining louder. It's about relationships. Smile, learn names, and be genuine. On a ship, word travels fast, and being the kind of passenger crew want to help makes you part of that hidden network too. Secret 2. Kindness travels faster than money. I once heard a phrase from someone who worked in hospitality. Never be rude to anyone who handles your food or your toothbrush. The image made me laugh, but it stuck with me, especially on cruise ships. Every crew member I've spoken to has said some version of the same thing. The guests who are remembered, the guests who actually get more than they expect, aren't the ones who wave money around. They're the ones who are consistently nice. Yes, tipping matters, but kindness matters more. Here's what crew say. A rude passenger with cash still gets their drink delivered, but a kind passenger who shows patience and respect, suddenly their wine glass gets refilled quicker, their table gets the better view, their cabin feels extra spotless. Not because the crew are breaking rules, but because kindness is remembered in a way money isn't. Think about it. Crew work insanely long shifts, often 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, for months at a time, and they're expected to smile through it all. When a guest shows them actual dignity, asks where they're from, remembers their name, thanks them, it cuts through the monotony. It makes their day. One cabin steward put it bluntly. The angry ones don't realize the more they shout, the slower things get solved. The nice ones, we move mountains for them. The secret is simple but powerful. Money is part of the system, but kindness is the cheat code. Secret 3. Crew friendships have boundaries you can't see. Now let's talk about one of the most misunderstood areas of ship life. Friendships between passengers and crew. Most people assume, well, if we get along, why not grab a drink together? Why not hang out after hours? But the truth is, crew live under incredibly strict rules when it comes to passenger interaction. Step over those lines, and they risk their jobs. Here's a story that shocked me. On a long cruise, I got to know a fitness instructor because I attended her classes every morning. She was fun. We chatted after class, and eventually, a small group of us invited her to join us in port for lunch. Nothing romantic, nothing inappropriate, just friendly. But word got back to her manager. She was formally written up and warned never to be seen socializing with passengers again. This was my wake-up call. For crew, even innocent interactions can be risky. Cruise lines have zero-tolerance policies for anything that looks like over-familiarity or worse, inappropriate relationships. And it's not just relationships. They also fear false accusations. That's why some crew avoid hugs and photos, or pose with a thumbs up so their hands are clearly visible. They're not being awkward. They're protecting themselves. As passengers, we often don't see those invisible boundaries. We think we're just being friendly. But crew are always balancing on a tightrope. They want to be approachable, but not too approachable. So the secret here is this. Yes, get to know crew. Yes, ask about their lives. Yes, treat them like human beings. But respect the lines you can't always see. Because if you push too far, you don't just make things uncomfortable, you could jeopardize their entire career. Secret 4. The power of remembering names. This one surprised me more than almost anything else. For years, I'd sometimes forget to fill out the end of crew survey. Or if I did, I'd write something generic like, "Service was excellent." I never realized how much those surveys mattered until crew explained it to me. Inside the crew system, surveys are currency. Promotions, contracts, bonuses, they're all influenced by passenger feedback. And what really matters isn't just the score you give, it's whether you mention someone by name. Managers read those reports closely. If Maria from housekeeping gets mentioned 5 times in a week, it goes straight onto her record. If Joseph in dining keeps popping up, he's suddenly in line for better shifts or even advancement. Crew careers can literally change based on whether passengers remember their names. That's why crew light up when you don't just say thank you, but actually remember who they are. One told me, "Write my name down or take a picture of my badge because later you'll forget how to spell it." And they were right. I've forgotten more names than I'd like to admit. The secret here is simple. If someone makes your cruise better, take 2 seconds to note their name. Not only does it mean the world to them in the moment, but it can have a lasting impact long after you've gone home. In a way, it's the most powerful tip you can give. Secret 5. The truth about gratuities. Gratuities are one of the most divisive topics in cruising. Some passengers remove the automatic gratuities, thinking they'll just tip individuals directly. Others assume it's all a scam, that cruise lines pocket the money. Crew members told me the truth sits in a much grayer space. On most lines, the automatic gratuities go into a pool, split among visible crew like waiters and cabin stewards, but also behind-the-scenes staff passengers never meet, laundry workers, galley cleaners, utility staff. Without those people, your cruise wouldn't function. Here's the secret part. On some ships, crew say they actually see a list of passengers who reduced or removed those charges. Whether that's officially sanctioned or just grapevine knowledge, it creates a ripple effect. Imagine working 12-hour days, 6 months straight, and seeing that cabin 729 has decided not to contribute to the system. Crew remember that. One waiter told me bluntly, "You think you're invisible, but we know who cancels, and it changes how we feel." He wasn't saying service would suddenly be bad, but the respect, the extra touches, the quiet favors, those evaporate. So while you're within your rights to remove gratuities, the crew's unspoken message is clear. Don't. It's not just about money. It's about being seen as part of the community that keeps the ship alive. Secret 6. The crew's own hidden costs. Most passengers assume crew get free food, free lodging, free internet. It's all part of living on the ship, right? Wrong. What stunned me is how much crew actually pay out of pocket just to survive on board. Many lines charge crew for Wi-Fi. If you've ever noticed clusters of crew huddled near free Wi-Fi spots in port, now you know why. For them, staying connected with family isn't just about time, it's about money. And their wages aren't huge to begin with. Some also pay for uniforms or for certain medical services on board. One crew member joked, passengers complain about the drink package, we complain about the internet package. Knowing this changes how you see gratuities and tips. They're not luxuries, they're lifelines. That's why cash tips are so valued. Crew can send that money directly home. Gifts are nice, sure, but a $20 bill is far more useful than a box of chocolates from duty free. The secret here is simple but sobering. The smiling bartender shaking your martini may be counting the hours until he can afford a 30-minute video call to his kids. Secret 7. Fear of accusations. One of the darkest secrets crew quietly admit is the constant fear of being accused of something inappropriate. They live with the reality that one passenger complaint, even a false one, can end their career overnight. That's why you'll notice crew sometimes pose awkwardly in photos. They'll stand with hands clasped, or give a thumbs up with both hands visible. It's not a silly gesture, it's protection. Proof that nothing questionable was happening. One steward said to me, "I never let passengers put an arm around me for a video. If I get accused of touching them wrong, that's it, I'm done." Imagine living under that pressure day after day with thousands of strangers around you. It's why crew seem warm, but sometimes a little distant. They have to protect themselves. As passengers, the secret is this: don't take it personally, and be mindful when taking photos. Respect their boundaries, because what feels like a casual snapshot to you could feel like a risk to them. Secret 8. Excursions aren't what they seem. One of the most profitable parts of a cruise for the line isn't your cabin or even your drinks. It's excursions. Crew know this better than anyone. That $120 beach break? It's probably a $30 taxi ride if you book it yourself. That $150 snorkeling trip? Local operators often offer the exact same experience at half the price. Crew can't officially recommend outside tours, but ask them off the record, and many will admit the best experiences are usually local, not through the ship. Here's the real insider trick. Crew themselves rarely book excursions through the cruise line. When they get time off in port, they head straight to local contacts, taxis, or even just explore on foot. They know the markup passengers are paying, and they avoid it. That said, there are times when ship excursions are worth it. If you're in a remote port where logistics are tricky, or if you're traveling somewhere with safety concerns, booking through the ship guarantees you won't get left behind if something goes wrong. But if you're docking in a busy Caribbean town with dozens of taxis waiting, the crew secret is clear. Go local, save money, and often get a more authentic experience. Secret 9. The Mafia of Favors. This is one of my favorite crew-only expressions, the onboard mafia. Not a real mafia, of course, but a network of informal favors. Want your suitcase repaired after guest services shrugs? Someone in housekeeping knows an engineer who knows a handyman. Need a last-minute reservation in a sold-out specialty restaurant? A waiter knows the maitre d'. On ships, crew swap favors constantly. It's how they survive the grind of long contracts, and occasionally passengers benefit from this too, if they've built good relationships. The secret? Your stateroom attendant is often the key. They know who's friends with who. They know which bartender pours strong, which staffer can get you into that show. Start with them, and be respectful. Don't demand, just ask. More often than not, they'll know a guy who can help. Secret 10. What crew really talk about off-duty. Passengers often imagine crew gossiping about them after hours. The truth? Crew mostly talk about two kinds of passengers. The ones who were incredibly kind, and the ones who were unbelievably rude. If you're friendly, patient, and treat them like people, you'll be remembered fondly. Your name will get passed around like a good story. But if you're the one yelling at guest services or berating a waiter, trust me, your reputation will spread too. Ships are small communities. Word travels fast. And while you might forget the names of the crew when you leave, they don't always forget you. The secret lesson here? You're leaving a legacy on board whether you realize it or not. Choose what kind of story you want told about you after you disembark. Secret 11. The ship never sleeps. When you head back to your cabin after a late-night show, the ship feels quiet. Hallways are empty, restaurants are closed, and it seems like everything has finally wound down. But if you could see below deck, you'd realize the ship never actually sleeps. Crew are still working, sometimes harder than during the day. Kitchens fire up at 3 a.m. to start breakfast prep. Maintenance crews scrub every inch of public spaces until they shine. Stores restock. Trash gets sorted. Laundry churns non-stop. One cabin steward told me, when you wake up and everything looks perfect, it's because someone worked through the night to make it that way. Why is this a secret worth knowing? Because it changes your perspective. Next time you walk into a sparkling dining room at 7 a.m., remember someone was polishing it at 2 a.m. That's why crew look exhausted sometimes and why patience matters. The ship feels like a floating resort to passengers, but it's a 24-hour factory behind the scenes. Understanding that hidden grind makes you appreciate every smile you see during the day. Secret 12. Insurance and emergencies. Here's a secret most passengers don't want to think about, but crew quietly warns about all the time. Medical bills at sea. The ship's medical center isn't like a clinic back home. It's private, specialized, and expensive. Crew see passengers walk in with a minor issue and walk out stunned at the bill. And here's the kicker. Not all travel insurance covers onboard medical costs. One crew member said, "We see it every cruise. People who thought they were covered, but their insurance excludes ships. If you need medical attention, consultations, or in the worst case, a medical evacuation, the numbers get eye-watering fast." Crew can't officially tell you this, but off the record, many say the smartest passengers double-check their policies before sailing. Does it cover onboard treatment, evacuation by helicopter, hospital care in a foreign port? If the answer's no, you're gambling. The secret here is less glamorous than hidden menus or free spa passes, but it's more important, because nothing ruins a cruise faster than medical debt you didn't see coming. Secret 13. Last-minute deals aren't always deals. Passengers love to brag about snagging a steal right before sailing. Crew hear it constantly. We paid half what everyone else did, but they also see what those cabins really are. Last-minute deals usually aren't upgrades. They're leftovers, obstructed views, noisy spots under the pool deck, rooms next to crew stairwells with doors slamming all night. Sure, you saved money, but did you really get a better experience? Crew admit, the happiest passengers aren't usually the bargain hunters. They're the ones who researched cabins, booked early, and got the location they wanted. The secret? Last-minute deals are great if you're flexible and don't care about noise or location. But if your idea of a great cruise is a quiet balcony or a midship cabin with smoother sailing, plan ahead. Because once you're on board, no deal can fix a bad location. Secret 14. The casino illusion. Most ships have casinos, and crew know the truth passengers often miss. Casinos are designed not just to make money, but to keep you on board spending. Lucky draws and free play credits aren't generosity, they're bait. Crew say the busiest nights in the casino often match nights where fewer people go ashore, or when specialty restaurants are quiet. It's strategic. They want you in the casino spending, not outside saving. The biggest secret? Unlike land-based casinos, ship casinos often operate in international waters, meaning regulations vary or don't exist. The odds aren't always as favorable as you'd expect back home. Crew quietly advise, if you're playing, play for entertainment, not profit. Secret 15. Crew remember you. Here's a secret that brings everything together. You might think you're just one of thousands of passengers who come and go every week. But crew remember. They remember the guest who always smiled, the one who asked their name, the one who slipped them a thank you card. They also remember the one who shouted, the one who took gratuities off, the one who treated them like furniture. Ships are floating villages. Stories spread fast. and your reputation lives on long after you've walked down the gangway. That's the real secret of cruising. It isn't just about free drinks, hidden cabins, or excursion hacks. It's about people. How you treat them, how you understand the world they live in, and how you fit into that hidden rhythm of ship life. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the biggest surprise you've ever learned about life on a cruise ship? Was it something a crew member told you? An experience you had? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. If you found this video valuable, don't stop here. Check out the next one I've linked, where I share even more insider cruise hacks. And don't forget, you can grab my free guide with 50 cruise tips in the description below. Because when you know the secrets crew want you to know, you don't just take a cruise, you take control of it. Your voyage is just beginning.